crawled upright, started clawing my way back up that cliff. There were places when I lost a couple yards for every one I gained, but Debola's continued laughter and the thought of choking the life out of him drove me on. I didn't know, I don't know how I'd have made it to the top otherwise. But by the time I did, I was spent. I stood up, trembling, and looked down at my body. The only part of my t-shirt that was still intact was the neckline, the right shoulder, and sleeve. The rest of it hung off my back, as did most of my shredded jeans and a fair amount of skin. Plus, I was so cut up that there was still blood running down my chest. Based on the squealing brakes and near collisions out there on the highway, the shock to people driving by was palatable. "Come on," said Tony, getting to his feet. He took my elbow and said, "Let's go to the truck before the sight of you kills somebody." It wasn't until I sank into the passenger seat that I realized my back was ripped up worse than my front. I still have scars there. "SM," said Tony as he started the truck, "you know what I said back in Burlingame about how I'd regret taking you to Arcata with me?" "That's all right," I said. "I understand." "No, you don't," he laughed. "Because I take it back. Hell, it's worth it already, you pathetic fuck." The two of us started laughing so hard, we covered the inside of the windshield with spit. I've often cited that as a perfect example of what it was like to be a suck-it-up Bay Area guy. A lifelong friendship was cemented right there because Tony has always known the right chord to strike with me. I wouldn't have made it up that cliff without his taunts, and I might have been scared to death in that cab without him. Instead, I ignored the concussion and cracked open another beer. Shortly after that, we came upon a roadside store. Tony parked, and when we walked in, well, he was walking. I was doing some kind of weird, hunched Frankenstein limp. There was a mother in there with her two kids, and they all screamed and ran out. Debola bought a large can of antibacterial Mediquick, along with some gauze and bandages. Then he took me out to the parking lot, sprayed me from my head to